Hello, and welcome back. Wait a second. What are we welcoming back for?
Another episode of Enjoy the Ride.
Enjoy the Ride. Is that a podcast or is that a movement?
It's a movement.
It's a movement?
It's so much more than a podcast.
What does a movement mean to you, Miss Kaitlin?
It means it's all encompassing. This positivity that we are spreading, this mindset that we're sharing is changing the world.
How many lives at a time?
One paradigm at a time.
One self-limiting belief at a time. Enjoy the Ride is hopefully sending out that message of positivity. And it's really cute, actually, when you talk to people that don't believe, right? I've had people from the day I first came up with the idea of Enjoy the Ride, basically thinking it was like cheesy or you're like so painfully positive. Get your head out of the ground, you ostrich, and like deal with the real world that we're living in. And my answer today is, as we're both experiencing living in Enjoy the Ride, the movement, because we live in it every day, right?
Yes.
We put up the positivity shield. We go into every single interaction we have with another human being with an intention to leave an impression of increase. We want to add value. We are batteries, we are rechargers, and we do spend a lot of time recharging ourselves so we can go out and give, right?
Yeah, I say I'm like the sun. Like the sun just charges everything. Doesn't ask for permission, doesn't ask for forgiveness.
Doesn't apologize if it blinds you. If you look at it for too long, you're going to go blind. And if you stare at Miss Kaitlin for too long, you might go blind. Her beauty is radiant, you guys.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Speaking of radiant.
Diamonds?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about diamonds for a second? What happened since we recorded our last episode that includes radiant stones?
Well, you finally put a ring on it, Mr. Foyer. That's what happened.
What? Holy smokes.
Best night of my life. And I think I tell an entirely different version of what happened because I was in shock. I mean, you left me speechless for 3 hours. I couldn't talk. They just kept looking at me and I just start crying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I'm going to start crying again.
Well, you can cry. I cry almost every episode at some point when I'm talking to my sister, my buddy Charlie, you.
It's true.
So let's share about that a little bit because it's so interesting when we talk about the law of attraction, we talk about mindset. You know, so many people want to live in Zoom, and Zoom is a word that I got from my dad. When things are really going the way you want them to, you just feel like you're in Zoom, right? And everyone wants to live in Zoom, but yet everyone tries to block it at some level. You look at, and I want to share kind of our engagement trip because it wasn't supposed to be an engagement trip. We were literally flying from Denver from a concert celebrating the 2 years when you and our best friend Janitha met. It was a celebration of that with our favorite band. And when we originally planned it, there was no proposal part of it. From there, we were going to...
Well, and it was Jake's birthday, too.
And her boyfriend, Jake's birthday.
I mean, when we start talking about all these things, like as a girl, and you're like, all right, like, it's going to be in the next little bit, you hope, right? That you're going to get proposed to when you've been with someone long enough, you've talked about the future, you know what's going to happen. This was one of those weekends where I was like, there's no way in hell this is going to happen. We're celebrating like all of us meeting. It's Jake's birthday. It's this amazing concert. Like
we have a 6 a.m. flight Monday morning from Denver to Santa Barbara to go to a Jack Canfield retreat, which has been a bucket list item of mine for years.
I was like, that's where his mind's going to be. I really was like, this weekend wasn't even kind of on the radar. Not even a little bit.
And it's interesting because I think about, and we talked about on the other episode, when I was maybe broken with my mindset, or even before that, when I was just an anxious young father or an anxious young business owner and had so many worries, I always wanted to work it out. I always wanted to have everything planned.
Then I came into your life.
Right. You came into my life. Bob, I'm going to give Bob Proctor a little bit of credit. Bob Proctor came into my life because thinking into results has changed my way of thinking. And you definitely, without Bob and thinking into results, I wouldn't have had the thoughts that I have that allowed me to connect with you the way we've connected. But literally, and I have clients and friends that I work with that if I told them our agenda from Friday to Saturday, and we actually added a couple more things while we were there, they would have said we were nuts, and we are nuts. But when you hold it in your mind, you don't have to have all. I mean, this is one thing I want to share on this episode. Forget the details. Like I used to be neat and tidy. Neat and tidy ends up with you being a stress case and maybe a lot of neat and tidy, but you don't create amazing, beautiful things to come into your experience to surprise and blow your socks off, like Miss Kaitlin had happened to her at a Rufus Des Soul concert in Red Rocks in the most beautiful amphitheater that I've seen so far in the world. And it all happened because we were just going with the flow. On Friday, we're getting ready to leave, and I had been looking at stones, and an email came through that Miss Kaitlin accidentally saw.
It was notified. It was a notification.
Yeah,
like
she's a snoopy little bee.
Snooping. It was a notification.
And it went to my business email that we both monitor from my personal. But our friend Janith is with her. I get a text. She saw an email about a diamond, and I'm like, oh crap. Because my original plan was to propose on 11/11/22. What a beautiful, I've shared in past my 11/11 grandma. I just love the numbers 11. I know you love it. So, and we already had a plan in place. You had got text from our friend Cassidy and from Janitha that you were going to do a girls' day on 11/11, and that was the plan. And on Friday, when I got the text that you saw the email, I'm like, you know what? I got to do something different. I got to throw a curveball here. And so I threw a curveball, and I told Miss Kaitlin that I'd been talking to my jeweler about a birthday present because her birthday's in November, and that when we got back, we were going to go look at some stones.
And I knew that wasn't real because I was like, actually, stones, like these are stones, these are diamonds, and it's about freaking time we're going to actually start the process.
But we pushed it after the trip. So in your mind, you're thinking, and you guys listen to psychology because I'm a sly one here. I pushed it past the trip.
You did.
And then
I was thinking birthday.
I decided I was going to do it at the concert. And honestly, as I started putting this together, I was like, we're going to Jack Canfield's retreat late. We're going Monday morning instead of Sunday night because of this concert. But if I propose, that's the best reason in the world to come late to a Jack Canfield.
Oh, is that the only reason you did it?
Yes, I was like, I got to take the pressure off being late to Jack Canfield's event. But so I made the decision. And then just one other thing, and again, our listeners are very connected to us. I hear from a lot of you, so I'm going to share kind of a vulnerable part of the story that's really cool to me is I was looking for a stone to put in the ring, but the ring that I found is the ring that my beautiful mother used to wear. And when she got Alzheimer's, she was losing everything. My dad didn't want to take her ring from her, but he did want to take her expensive diamond. So he took the diamond out and put a cubic zirconia diamond in, and she wore it until she passed. And then after she passed, I didn't know what happened to it. And I thought he'd gotten rid of it. And a few months ago, I was starting to look at rings and diamonds, and I knew what stone Miss Kaitlin wanted, but I didn't know the setting. And then it hit me. Gosh, my mom had a beautiful ring. They're both allergic to metal. So my mom had platinum. My mom was very specific on what she could wear. And Miss Kaitlin is actually the same way, which was interesting. And long story short on this part of it, my brother-in-law Cam, and shout out to Cam Calder, you big, beautiful, loving man, my dad was going to sell it, and Cam bought it from him. And we have no idea why, because he didn't plan on giving it to my sister Megan. He didn't know it, and he bought it in 2018. So he's had it for 4 years, sitting in a safe, not knowing why he bought it. And when I asked him about it, and we ended up at his house, and it's so funny because on social media, Miss Kaitlin got a Jeep, and I posted, it was the day I posted a funny, and I got her permission because I didn't want to be insulted, but I said, can I post, you asked for a ring and I gave you a Rubicon? And she's like, that's funny. Well, that day, talk about synchronicities. And again, we just want to keep sharing, because the more we live in this work and this positivity, the more it just works for us. But I talk about the ring in the morning. We get out to visit my sister and Cam that night, and he pulls me downstairs and he's like, I found it. And he pulls it out. And it's the cutest thing I've ever seen, because my dad had a couple strokes and was kind of losing it. He wrote on the outside of this envelope, this ring belongs to Cam Calder, paid in full, 2/18/18. I mean, literally signed in like this.
What a cool date too.
Yeah. This really cool note date. And I looked at Cam and I go, why did you buy it? And he literally, tears in his eyes. I don't know. I'm like, for me? And he's like, maybe. And I'm like, she's like, well, ask her right now. And he wanted me to ask her right then. He's like, yeah, let's go upstairs right now. I'm like, well, maybe I need to get a diamond. So anyway, that's the story of how I got the ring. So Friday, I get the text. I'm like, screw it. She's getting proposed to with the fake diamond that was my mom's, and we'll pick out a diamond later. So we put the plan together. Janitha and Jake knew, and Rufus is our favorite band. They've got a song called Treat You Better, which is our song, and it's about our commitment to each other. We've both been in bad relationships. We've both been treated not as good as we deserve, and we've made a commitment for the last, year and a half to treat each other better. And so that was the plan. But it gets better, because Miss Kaitlin, being the funny lady she is, starts talking all weekend long as we get to Denver about, what were you going to do at the concert?
Oh, I said I was going to propose to you. I was like, we've been talking about this forever. So I'm joking around like, I'm going to propose to you. What's going to happen? It's my favorite venue, my favorite band, my favorite song. Just you wait, Shawn Foyer. I'm going to propose to you.
I'm dying inside. And
Jake and Janitha, they're laughing so
they're
hard.
looking behind her back like, oh my God, this is perfect.
They're laughing so hard. And I'm like living in it going, I know, I'm hilarious.
She's teeing it up. She's teeing it up. She's teeing it up. It's so fun. And one of her nails the polish had come off, and I'm thinking, gosh, she really would want her nails done when I put a ring on her. And Jake's like, you should probably get your nails done if you're going to propose tonight. She bought it, again, having no idea that we're really going to do this that night. So she gets her nails.
Fun, eventful day. And it's, you know, like we say, like when you're living in it, you can't put the pieces together, but you can always connect the dots going backwards. And I look back and I'm like, oh, even though I've dyed my hair dark, God, I'm such a blonde still. I am such a blonde still. Like, what?
Yeah, she was just not even expecting it. And we get to the concert and we're just having a great time. And Rufus decided to scare me a little bit. They played Treat Me Better in the middle of their set in Salt Lake on Thursday that we'd seen. And in Sunday's night show, they got to the end of the show and hadn't played it. So I was sweating it a little bit. I mean, I'm very positive, but I'm going to say for a half a second when
I knew they would play the song.
They left the stage. They took Next to Me out of the show in Salt Lake, which is one of their best songs.
I know they're going to play it. Like, I just know it. And according to Jake, he TIR'd it. So.
Yeah. And Jake helped us think it into results. And thank you, Jake and Janita, for holding such beautiful space for that beautiful moment. We will never forget your birthday. And Jake doesn't like to celebrate his birthday. So if you know Jake, tell him happy birthday right now. We call it a happy concert date all day for him. Happy concert day, Jake. Yep. But we get to remember happy concert day for the rest of our life because it was such a beautiful day. But song starts, I lean in and I say, hey, Miss Kaitlin, you want to propose to me now?
And I'm like, oh, haha, you're so funny. Don't ruin my favorite song. Like, just, so I'm dancing around and I think he's just giving me shit.
She thinks I'm teasing her. And so then I lean in and I said, hey, what if I flip it? How about I propose to you? And how about I promise to treat you better for the rest of your life? I was serious when I said that.
And I didn't know he was serious. So I'm just dancing. Like in the video, you can see I'm just dancing. I'm like, that sounds amazing. I would love that.
And then I get on a knee, and we'd been to a crystal shop that day. And I realized when I got there, I had my mom's ring in that little envelope that Ralph had signed, my dad had signed. And it was in the middle of the night, Saturday night. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have a box. I need a box. I can't just pull it out in the concert. And I remembered at the crystal shop, they gave us a cute little bag. And so I'd put it in the crystal shop bag. And as I got on a knee, I'm still kind of playing with her a little bit. And I pulled it out and I said, I went to the crystal shop and got you something.
And I'm still like, at this point, I'm really like, oh my, he's on his knee. He's saying he has something from the crystal shop. Like, how far is he going to take this? Like, this is kind of mean right now. Like, what am I supposed to do here? And it took Janita, actually.
She nudged you.
She hit me, full on hit me. And I looked at her and then I looked around at everybody and I went, are you serious? And I just started bawling. Everybody had stopped around us and just was like cheering us on and screaming. And it was such an amazing moment. And I'm so glad we have it on film. How many times have I watched that video?
I don't know.
Like 100.
Well, a stranger behind us videoed it and immediately came up and said that was the most beautiful thing ever and sent us the link. And again, you guys, trust yourself, trust synchronicities. Like I listened to my heart. I listened to my intuition. I mean, Rufus, when they started the encore, they're like, this is our 8th time playing this blessed venue. And I'm like, yes, it is blessed. And they talked about what a spiritual experience it can be. I mean, I love the Red Rock, whether it be Southern Utah, up at the Red Rock Amphitheater. You know, it's just, it feels like creation. It feels like new birth. And so to be in that venue, and it just couldn't have been perfect as they started playing the white lights, just felt magical. Because the show had ended and it was an encore, a group around us that was a little, they were partying and rowdy.
They were a little out of it.
They'd left. And so we now had this like little magical space that had opened up around us. And like, I couldn't have scripted it better. Time stopped for us. And I do believe it's because of all the work we've done on ourselves. Yeah. Like we've spent a lot of time, and because we're in good vibration, in good mindset and positivity, we just create magic everywhere we go. It
was literally magic. Like I had no idea any moment could be that magical. And like, that's why I think I keep watching the video. I'm like, oh my God, was this real life? Or am I imagining that this happened as great as it did? And every time I watch it, I'm like, it's even better than I'm even thinking.
Let's talk, because I want this episode, we can call this episode The Proposal. We can also call it Abundance, because so from there, we get back to the hotel. What is it, 1 a.m.?
1 a.m. We have to be up at 3:30.
3:33 a.m. is what we'd set our alarm for.
That's true.
to get to the airport in time for our 6 a.m. flight. And we were in Denver.
And we'll do a whole nother episode on Jack Canfield event, which was amazing. But it was so crazy. Like
4:20 a.m. in Denver, though. Do you remember that?
Oh my gosh, that's right.
That's what time the Uber picked us up. But
I was a little nervous of like who's going to pick us up, but it was a good ride.
We went through security. We were supposed to land at 9:30. We landed at 9. The event started at 9. We literally got to the hotel, to the event 45 minutes late, and we didn't miss anything.
Nope, we didn't miss anything.
And just think, you guys, if I would have got caught up in my head, neat and tidy,
it has to be perfect.
I would have canceled the concert. I would have skipped the event. And I would
tried to for a minute. Yeah, you thought for a minute.
I did. No, I did.
And it was like, no, we'll make it all work. Jack used to party. He'll love
that we went to a concert. Well, yeah, and then we walk in at 9:45, and they introduce us, and we get up front, and I say where we've been and what we've done, and immediately we brought the energy of love, of authenticity, of vulnerability, of connection.
People love to celebrate love. That's one thing I've really learned and leaned into. People love love.
Well, and people want to be connected, right? And so when they see connection, it inspires them that they can have it too. And that's what, honestly, in the work that we do, I mean, all of our masterminds, that was the other thing that was just so beautiful to me, is as we didn't get to share it till Tuesday. I mean, we literally got to the Jack Canfield event, 9 a.m., finished at 5, had dinner that night. I mean, we got back to the room Pacific time. It was like 10 o'clock. All our clients' friends are all either Mountain or Eastern time. So it's very late.
I hadn't even told
our sisters, my kids, your kids.
Yeah, the kids didn't know. Our families didn't really, no one knew. We kept it off social media because we're like, we want to be able to FaceTime people, talk to people. And we're just so busy. We didn't get that opportunity to. So it was just like our little secret for a minute. And then it got celebrated by everybody. Jack Canfield, his whole team.
Yeah, their team was supportive. We started sending it to my clients, to our clients, our friends, our family, and
yeah, we made sure families knew first, and then
especially the kiddos.
Yes,
some of my kiddos were harder to get a hold of than others.
True.
Your girls, we got a hold of pretty quickly. But yeah, what a beautiful experience. And we went from there to Jack Canfield, and we talk about. And I think I want to shift this and correct me or take it where you want, Kaitlin, but just when you're in scarcity and negativity and fear and anxiety, you tend to create a lot more of that in your experience without even trying. And now we're together, and I've experienced at different moments in my life, but you and I are creating it on a daily basis, where once you get into abundance and out of scarcity, once you get to love and connection and out of loneliness, you just create more of that. And it happens so easy. I mean, we stayed the Canfield retreat. The normal price for the rooms is like $2,200 a night. We got it for like $330 because of the retreat. And I keep saying, when you get on the side of abundance, abundance comes at you without you having to spend money to get abundance. It just starts flowing. The last night we were there, they upgraded us. Cost a little extra, but not a lot, to a oceanfront suite that's probably a $5,000 a night room. We got to literally go to sleep and wake up with a 20-foot deck and a view of the Pacific Ocean. We did a meditation, an abundance meditation of Jack Canfield's, and
opened my eyes to dolphins.
And the oil rigs and the ocean. I'm like, look at all that abundance right in front of us. It's all there.
It was amazing. Well, love is definitely the highest vibration. And when you're just radiating in that, when you're just living in that vibration,
you attract more of it.
Yes. And abundance,
and fear
is not
and anxiety and depression is the lowest. And when you're vibrating in that, you tend to attract more of that. And I if somebody's listening to this saying, oh, screw you because you're in a bad situation, I've been in a bad situation and I attracted more of a bad situation from that bad situation. And it's just how it works.
Well, and there's so many examples of it over and over, but so many examples with us, even in like that, in the past 2 weeks of just being in that correct, or not even correct, just being in that vibration of love, of peace, of happiness. And so because we're there and we're living that, more of it just comes at us, and it looks different than you would ever expect too. Like, oh, actually we upgraded you to this. Like, we got to Vegas and it was like, nobody else could get an Uber driver. Our Uber driver picks us right up, was like, you got in right at the right time. Like, oh, well, that's convenient. Great.
Yeah, there was a hockey game. There was
everything. And
emo event. There was all kinds of stuff in Vegas. Yeah. And there was high winds that delayed our flight a little bit, which I was a little frustrated because everything was going so perfectly. But that ended up being perfect because all the flights were delayed, and ours was a 45-minute flight from Santa Barbara. So we took off and landed before all the other delayed flights got there. And so we beat all the Friday night rush in Vegas. And
it was crazy. We get to the Cosmo. They're like, we've upgraded you like 10 levels to this amazing suite.
The lady was like giggling. She's like, I think they just took this from a VIP. You told her had got engaged, and she loved hearing about love.
Yes. And so it's amazing what we create and what comes into our experience when we're living in it.
So I think let's hammer home like a takeaway. So in the mindset world, we talk about belief.
Yes.
And when you're stuck in scarcity, sometimes that's matching what you believe in that moment, right?
Yeah. And you can say, no, I believe I want more. I know I can have better. But if you don't truly believe that on the inside, it just doesn't show up ever. I mean, and that could be a subconscious block that you don't even realize, but you think like, yeah, I really want that. But somewhere deep inside, I feel like something bad's going to happen.
Yes. And let's talk about it for a minute, because one thing that we've shared, I think in past episodes, what do we say every day to create more good and forget about the bad?
Well, how does it get better is what we say. And you were speaking about how your dad called it Zoom, and which is so funny of a word. But when things start going really good for people, we're almost conditioned. Actually, we are conditioned to expect something bad to happen. Oh, this is too good for too long. My luck is going to run out, or something bad's going to happen. And that doesn't have to happen. Actually, that we create that by thinking that. So it works out really, really well when you just say, how does it get better? And you just watch. I just watch as every moment gets better.
And what I love about that too is, and I've shared this with clients, and I've had some clients get frustrated. They'll call me with a win and be like, Shawn, I just told you blah, blah, blah. I just had this huge win. And you literally said, how does it get better? That made me feel like you minimized my win. Like, no, it's quite the opposite of that. Because whenever we say, how does it get better? Both of us know that means thank you for what we have.
Yeah. Like, this is so amazing. I can't wait even to see what happens next. It's not like this is so amazing. This is the best it's going to get. So, oh, well.
No, it's really, when I say, oh my gosh, babe, how does it get better? And Kaitlin knows this. The first thing I'm saying is, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful for this moment. Like, look how good it's gotten. And we say this because in the past, when it started to get good, we expected something bad, and we're not going to expect that anymore, but we're going to be really grateful for where we are. And we're going to wait for something even better.
Well, gratitude is the keystone to that. I mean, that is part of being in that vibration, that highest vibration of just being so grateful for everything in your life right at that moment. And asking, how does it get better? Because you know it will.
Yes. And again, asking for it to get better. Are you going to still have challenges? Of course you are, but you're going to handle them better because you're expecting it to get better, even in the midst of a challenge, right? It's not good. It's not bad. It just is. How does it get better? And again, I always am very careful because I've been on the other side of belief where that's hard to hear. And so I say that with love and compassion, but it always gets better.
Always gets better.
We talk about paradigms, right? Subconscious programs. I've used the analogy that a subconscious program is kind of like a submarine. We were looking out at the Pacific Ocean, and we know from a friend of ours that's in the military that there are nuclear subs that sit out there and protect us, right? Mm-hmm. None of us see them. None of us know they're there, but there's 30 plus men at all times ready to defend our great nation, right?
Yes.
We can't see it. Well, our subconscious mind kind of works the same way. It's underneath. The subconscious is underneath like a submarine, and it's ready to protect us, and it's ready to keep us safe. Unfortunately, it sometimes acts up when it doesn't need to because it's running old patterns. And
it's running a program.
I would love, actually, if you're cool, because this is coming up for me, because as we're sharing wins and we're in positivity, what happens when you get surprised that you had a breakthrough in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I had a huge breakthrough. And so this is, one takeaway that I hope everyone takes from this podcast is the art of receiving, learning to receive. In my past, I've always had a hard time receiving. I'd rather do for people than receive from people. And a lot of it comes because I guess I'm a control freak. I like to know what's going on at all times. I like to be on top of things because I don't like to be surprised.
Wait, you don't like to be surprised?
Yeah.
Oh, we just started this episode with the biggest surprise.
Biggest surprise in my life, right? And it was.
Did that create an emotional event that changed your paradigm on surprises?
It did. And, here I am 36 years later, and I'm finally like, oh my God, I actually love surprises. I mean,
Before that, though, what was your paradigm on surprises? Because this was a good surprise. Before that, did you have good surprises or mostly bad surprises?
I mean, anytime I was surprised, it was a bad thing. And we like to say, it's not good, it's not bad, it just is. But these were, traumatic events that were surprises. And
having your mom or dad come in and out of your life. Surprise, Kaitlin, you're going to live here now. Surprise, Kaitlin, you're going here now. Surprise, Kaitlin.
Yeah. And A, B, C, D, go through the entire alphabet of examples. And so that was something, because I was really thinking, God, like, I have a really hard time receiving. Why do I like to do so much for other people? And I genuinely do love to do things for other people. But then I'm like, am I a bit of a control freak? Where does that come from? Why do I feel like I always have to know everything? Why do I have to feel like?
Because you don't want to be surprised.
And that's what it broke it down to.
I don't want to be surprised.
I don't want to be surprised. If I'm not surprised, then like life's good. I'm pretty insightful. I have pretty good vision of how things will go.
She's kind of a detective too.
And I'm extremely a detective. I'm like an FBI agent, you guys.
Yeah.
Like nothing gets past me.
Nothing.
Except for obviously this proposal. And now I'm allowing that to happen.
Well, I love surprising people and I love surprises. So I'm glad to hear you're open. But no, it's so interesting. And listeners, think about this. There's things that you're doing in your life subconsciously that are blocking your abundance, that are blocking your fun.
They're blocking your surprises.
They're blocking your surprises. And Miss Kaitlin, her and I talked about this at the Campfield event. She's had some breakthroughs on it. But last night, after 10 days, planes, trains, and automobiles, we actually rented a car. Vegas was so much fun. And we're like, let's just drive home. We have family in St. George that we want to see. And it's a 6-hour drive. And if Caitlin's driving, it's a 4.5-hour drive.
That's
so
true.
let's just drive home. But we got home late last night. It was like 9:00 and we pulled into our downtown office / condo where we were staying last night. And they'd done some really cool murals on one of the buildings. And as we pulled in the driveway, I was surprised and excited. So I'm like, oh my gosh, and I jumped. And it hit me how often she does this. She said, oh my gosh, what? Like something bad had happened.
Like I was bracing myself for impact. I really was. I was like, oh my God.
And I said, this is one of those surprise moments. I said, no, look. And
it was just something beautiful.
It was beautiful, but that's how programmed at a subconscious level she is, that when somebody says, oh my gosh, guess what? It's something bad.
Yeah. Just something or scary. Like it's like fear is my fallback. Any surprise.
But you're not afraid of anything is what's funny. You're really not.
No, I'm not. But apparently surprised as I am. This has been like such a trip for me since being proposed to. So if I could give like anybody some advice, is like, if you have a hard time receiving, really dig into why that is. It might be the same path that I had. Like surprises were bad, or surprises meant something horrible.
Or if you gave and gave and gave, you wouldn't lose people too. Because I had a little bit of that paradigm that I have to be a giver, because if I don't give enough,
yeah,
my people will leave me, because I've had people leave me. And I used to take it personally. I know it's not now, but it's still a program that started at a young age that stays with you. Even when you were, first step is awareness. We talk in mindset. First step is oh, that's a paradigm. That's a self-limiting belief that comes up for me. Then once I'm aware, I have to practice changing it. And it does take space, repetition of thought. And sometimes, and hopefully this proposal is a cool enough emotional event that we can shift your paradigm.
Created a whole new paradigm for me of that, because it's true too. Like if you're always giving, you have no capacity to receive and receive and receive. And I am such a giver. And you would even say like, babe, you got to create space if you want me
to propose.
And you said that for months. And I was
even while I was trying to, you weren't creating space because you were going to propose. Like, listen to that.
I know.
Good thing I'm a little crafty, right?
You are. You really, outkick the coverage.
Yeah, I've been told that a few times with you.
Well done.
So yeah, step into your abundance.
God, step into your abundance.
It's as easy to receive your abundance as it is to stay stuck in your misery and in your scarcity and your fear. And again,
be open to surprises.
Yeah.
Welcome them. Surprises aren't bad.
And it doesn't. And we'll go back to, what do you believe, right? Right now we're in a really good place of belief because we've had a lot of good things happen. But the good things happened after we believed they were possible.
Every time.
Like even our relationship, we've experienced since we met, you were going through a divorce, which ended up being challenging, was very emotional.
Very.
You lost your dog. I mean, you lost a lot of things financially, emotionally.
Yep.
I lost my father shortly after that.
I lost my grandfather.
You lost your grandpa. I had a lawsuit, with my kid's mother. I had some stuff come up and
various moves.
Disagreements, some moves. Yeah.
It was like every major life event, we're like, let's just cram it into this 18 months and say, is this relationship really going to work?
But through every step in it, we had a choice. Is this good? Is this bad? And we both together, and we've done a lot of mindset work, and we continue to do a lot of work on the inside. It just is. And how do we make it good? How do we make it good? I mean, I remember when the financial challenge came at me of trying to come up with that money that was being asked of me, and I didn't have it at the time. Like, you and I went and looked at motorhomes. I was like, maybe I should buy a motorhome and go on the road and just run. That was one of my thoughts.
That was.
Do you remember that? And
I
it was such a dark, I remember, getting the text asking for that, and I saw red. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm going to shut down. I don't know how I can do this. And
I made you lean in.
Then I leaned in. Yeah. And it's good to have a cheerleader like you. And I did. I had the best 6 months of my career, really, financially,
like,
emotionally, spiritually.
We're going to make this easy. We're going to make it small. Like, if I can get through the things I've gotten through, then you can get through this. Like, we've been through way harder things together.
Yeah. And each time we go through something that, again, not good, not bad, but it can be challenging, we get stronger.
Yep.
When you go to the gym, if you're pushing a barbell and trying to do some chest presses, right, and get a stronger chest, best way to do it is throw some weight on. And for you and I both, God's put some weight on our plates a few times, and we've both lifted it. Yeah. We've lifted it repeatedly. And as we lift it repeatedly, we get stronger. And I used to say, God, I'm pretty strong. I don't know if I want to get any stronger today, but we're either growing or we're dying. So every day I accept the challenge of I'm going to try and get stronger today. And if I get a new challenge that comes at me, again, it's not good, it's not bad, it's just a challenge, and I get to make it happen for me, not to me.
And that's, I think, the best part about our relationship too, is that you are all in on you. You would bet your full hand on you. And I would do the same for me. I'm all in on me. And so that creates this beautiful space where we can be all in on each other, because I'm not trying to fill any void or lack in you, and same.
I'll pick up the slack, and I know the same thing. Yeah. There is no slack.
It's just abundance. It's just abundance and love.
Could I get a little slack sometimes? Because I'll just tell you, the tension on the rope is like pretty intense sometimes.
I'm just making you stronger. I
got some road rash going on right now. With some rope rash. This slack. No, it's a beautiful thing. Well, awesome. Anything else you want to share? I mean, this episode, I really wanted to touch base. We do want to do some more talk. That Jack Canfield event. Oh my gosh.
I can't wait to do. We'll do a whole episode on
so many lessons from that beautiful
episode or two or series.
Patty Aubrey and all. And
they're amazing.
They've all agreed to be on the podcast too. We've got some really cool guests coming up. One that'll drop here in a week or two. My good friend Charlie Gandell, one of my original mentors. I'm going to be recording an episode with him on 40-year career from 400,000 in sales to 48 million through a bankruptcy, through financial challenges, through all these. He's such a cool
He's
story.
Just proof that nice guys do finish first. Like, nice guys don't finish last. I don't know where that saying came from, but Charlie Gandell is definitely just that prime example of like nice guys finish first.
Yeah. And he's led the way for me, because I think I'm a nice guy. I am a nice guy.
You are a nice guy. You are.
And I had some moments. I had some moments where I questioned if I was going to finish first, because I was going through some challenges, and he's always been an inspiration. So maybe some teasers for future episodes, listeners. Brian Proctor, Bob Proctor's son, is agreed to be a guest and share. He's got an upcoming book. My dad knew the secret growing up with Bob Proctor.
Dr. Ivan Meisner,
founder of BNI. Jack Canfield will be on.
And Patty Aubrey. Permission granted. God, I love
Google
her.
PattyAubrey.com if you haven't ever listened to. I mean, she started out as her words, a valley girl from Southern California with bright red nails and learning how to type, to really running the Canfield organization with Jack. And wow, what a powerful human.
So excited for more episodes.
How does it get better?
It just always does.
Always does.
Does.
Thank you, Miss Kaitlin.